How we doing, fellow Cannabisians? I was listening to Chris Trump the other day, and he was talking about fermented seawater. Very interesting.
I'll buy that for $1.
Fermented seawater. It's made from a combination of Lactobacillus, diluted seawater, and fermented plant juice, used at a rate of 1:30. It increases the sugar content of fruit, is a seedling treatment for onions and leeks, and helps to prevent feather loss in chickens. It controls anthracnose, and you use it to enhance fruit ripening 2 weeks before harvest. According to Cho's Natural Farming Guide, organic sea matter produces an excellent effect when the microbes of the land and the minerals of the microbes of the sea meet. In other words, fermented seawater provides abundant energy to crops and to animals, livestock. Pour seawater into a large bowl and let airborne microbes go into it for about 24 hours. The natural minerals and the salts act to enhance the soil. It sweetens fruits. You can add OHN and water-soluble calcium to enhance harvest. As a soil application, you can add it to the soil for every 10 acres.
Using a laser core stolen from G.I. Joe, Destro activates the Weather Dominator, an incredible weapon which controls the forces of nature itself.
Now the first step we're going to have to do is get our FPJ. So got my little jar. I'm going to grab all this and all the little weeds that are all around the house and start it off. I think I got a pretty good little collection here. So we're going to chop it up and add our brown sugar. It's the first part of our fermented seawater. So I've got my plant material. You're not supposed to mix it, and you're supposed to collect it early in the morning when the hormones are at its peak. Now my brown sugar, you want to use half or a third of the amount of brown sugar that you have plant material. I'm going to say this is about a pound of plant material. I'm going to use about a half a pound of brown sugar. We're going to let it ferment for about 3 to 5 days when all the liquid kind of comes out of it. And now I think I'm done chopping. Kind of see how fine it is, and the reason that you chop it is to give the sugar more surface area to pull from. Otherwise it might take longer than 3 to 5 days, depending on temperature. So we're going to put in our brown sugar, mix it up, and let chemistry happen. That's what we're looking like now. You're going to see when it gets juicy. Now we can see how loose and spinachy it is. So now we're going to take some brown sugar and just make a cap to make sure nothing can penetrate inside and let the fermentation happen. Just push everything down, make it nice and flat. No material is showing on the top. I'm going to loosely screw on the cap. Get us 3 to 5 days. We're going to have our FPJ, part 1 of the Weather Dominator.
And the Weather Dominator explodes into 3 parts. G.I. Joe must recover the parts before Cobra, or all is lost.
And we're back days later. I'm going to basically strain this into my little mason jar. And using a funnel and a coffee filter. And finish off this FPJ.
G.I. Joe and Cobra each recover one of the parts.
All right, part 2 of the Weather Dominator. Our diluted seawater. Now, it is 30 grams of sea salt per liter of water to make diluted seawater, like 10 liters of water. So at 30 grams per liter, I'm going to need about 33 tablespoons, which is roughly about 2 cups of salt in order to do this. And about 2 cups of salt will cover it. And our sea salt from Utah's Great Salt Lake. So got my measuring cups here as well. I'm gonna put everything in with a funnel. Diluted seawater. Now to add our lab. Part 2.
But Zartan, in a bold and surprising maneuver, captures the third part and offers it to the highest bidder.
Now just using generic plain rice, we're going to rinse it off and use that rinse water as a base to start. The naturally occurring Lactobacillus in the air will feed on the starches in the rice water. We're going to place it into this jar, place a paper towel over top of it, and leave it outside for a few days in order for the collection to begin. You'll notice how cloudy the liquid is now, but once enough Lactobacillus is collected, it will start to get lighter. We will add milk and continue. So now it's actually been about 24 hours since we poured the milk in. You can see it's formed a little cheese. We're just going to take funnel, coffee filter, strain it out. And while we're waiting on that, we're going to go dump this in our compost pile. Behold, all 3 pieces of the Weather Dominator. We got our JLF, our lab, and our diluted seawater. Now we're going to mix this all up and begin the fermenting. And we wait 24 hours. Okay. Actually, give it a shake. Now loosen the cap. So now the Colombian, that is what, it's probably week 5 of flower and it's just starting to do something. But we got our fermented seawater. 24 hours have passed. We'll give it a little drinky drink. Bring it around town. That bad boy looks thirsty. Fermented seawater.